What is up, you guys? I hope you guys are having a great start to your week. I know we are here at the floor. Been a beautiful August so far. I know we're only 2 days in, well, 2 trading days in, but what's up, Justin? What's up, EA? Yeah, I know we're only 2 days into August so far, but we're looking real nice on the P&L, so gotta love that. But first off, I do actually want to go over our trade from today for those of you that were there and caught it with me, and for those of you that weren't. Thank you, Beck. Thank you. But yeah, I also want to say real quick, I'm not going to do a lot of promo right now, but if you guys want to trade live with me every day, use code FIRST at checkout. That code will be done by midnight. So if you guys want in at a crazy discount, make sure you do that before midnight tonight, because that code will no longer exist. But anyways, today's trades, we took NVIDIA, one and done, easy peasy. For those of you guys that follow me on Instagram, you guys saw the live trade already, but I want to print free money with almost zero effort. Yeah, that's facts, Justin. That is facts. Now, if you want to learn, you got to show up to the lessons as well. But if you just want to print free money with no effort, there you go. What's up, Levon? But yeah, this morning we were looking at NVIDIA. Originally, I have this in the trade ideas here, so I'll just pull this over so you guys can see the original plan. Should be able to see this. Yep. Okay, so NVIDIA, I was looking at the 176.15 pre-market high, planning to play this into high of day from Friday, which is at 176.54. And then after that, I had room to the 177.19 break, which would be my final target on this trade. Now, when we took this, we actually got a really nice entry here at 175.87, which was just another pre-market resistance. But with the momentum we were having coming up from low of day like that, basically without the market, I really liked that for a bit of an early entry, just because we were capturing the momentum. We got to basically put a little bit of distance between our entry and where our original planned entry was, and we were going to be risking the same thing regardless. So yeah, it's always good to be able to grab an early entry there when you can and when it makes sense. But that 175.87 level is where we took it. We pretty much pushed right up to the pre-market high after that, and we saw a little bit of hesitation here, which if you were in the chat, you probably didn't hear it in the live trade because I think I cut it out. But at this point in time, I already had my finger over the sell button just in case we needed to get out of this, and we would have been getting out of this basically break even or a little bit green if we ended up having to get out before we got the move. So basically no risk on this trade once we got that initial entry, because we pushed right up. We were holding up at this area, and my stop loss was then moved to break even. So that's, once again, always nice when you can pretty much be in a trade with no risk. And yeah, so at this point in time, I was already getting ready to sell just in case we ended up seeing a pullback here, but we ended up holding the levels we needed to hold. And saw some really nice follow through on this next candle here, which is where we ended up taking profits at the high of day break from Friday, which was at 176.54. Now, at that point in time, we pretty much got peak sell. Obviously, these next couple candles did make new highs by a little bit, but we followed that by a big pullback. And then we ended up coming up and making our way up to the absolute final target that I had for this. So technically, if you guys did want to take that risk and hold, we did see final target, but personally, I'm super happy with how we executed that. We got a super sniper entry there and a really nice clean play to start the week. Now, it was a little bit smaller than my previous trades just because I was in lighter, but I also didn't want to have to buy 200 contracts to get my normal position size. So once again, completely cool with how we executed that. Very clean play. And overall, I talked about this in pre-market review this morning, but overall, just the way we were setting up here, looked like we were ready to make a pretty sizable recovery on the larger time frames. So I had a lot of confidence in this trade, at least giving us the tiny move that we were looking for, which is really all you need. So yeah, beautiful way to start the week there. Crown. Oh, there you go. You got your crown, Levon. Liked the sell button call out, had me ready to exit. There you go, Justin. And that's honestly how I am in the majority of our trades, where we're kind of hesitating, kind of maybe getting close to stop loss, whether that stop loss is break even or whether that stop loss is the actual stop loss. I'm always sitting there just ready to execute if I need to, which is how we can stay on top of things and have really clean entries and exits. But yeah, that was the trade we took today. What's your strategy on risking the amount of contracts you buy? Austin, I guess if you could elaborate a little bit more on that question, I'll be able to give you a good answer. But with that, I don't exactly know what you're asking there. I don't know if you're asking my risk on my position size or if you're asking my risk on the contracts. I don't exactly know what you mean there. What made you go lighter size, Sean? Because I didn't want to have to buy 200 contracts. I had 50 contracts in that trade, and that still felt like more than I would have liked to. Yeah, so that wasn't really part of any strategy there. I would have gone full position size on that if the contracts weren't so cheap. Now, I could have played in the money contracts, but I already had the, what do we have, the 180 calls? I already had the 180 calls pulled up and ready. I already had that in the heads up tab. I already had that loaded up for the signal and everything. So I just stuck with the 180 calls, and it is what it is. Sometimes lighter plays are nice and refreshing for me. But no, I would have taken full position size on that if I didn't have to buy 200 contracts to get there. But yeah. So right there on that trade in specific, there was no specific strategy there other than the fact that I didn't want to buy that many. Now, once again, Austin, if you want to elaborate on that question a little bit more, I can give you a better answer. But as of right now, that is what I've got for you. But if you guys are new to the charting sessions here, we basically go through my watch list A to Z, see what I like for the following day, and possibly even the rest of the week, depending on when we get these setups. But that is what we're going to get into right now. So starting off here with Apple, I still really like this 201.50 level to the downside. I like it even better now, actually. I think this looks really, really nice. And once again, especially after a attempted recovery like this, and I was going to say failed breakout, but we really aren't breaking out. We're just recovering that sell-off from Friday. But with an attempted recovery like that and then selling off the rest of the day, that puts us at an even better spot here, because this should just be even more aggressive than it would have been to start with. Because not only did we have time for this stock to breathe, we also had an attempted recovery that they failed. So that is always nice. So I do really like Apple at that 201.50 level still. Nothing as far as that trade idea is changing, other than the fact that now we basically have even more conviction behind the play. And setting up nice. Yeah, I'll check that out in a second, EA. Recorded my NVIDIA trade today. Haven't looked at how it turned out, but maybe we can go over it during Thursday night student trade reviews. Yes, for sure, Sean. That's awesome. I'm glad you recorded. But we can absolutely go over that on Thursday. Airbnb here. This has earnings, I believe, tomorrow after market closes. Or is it Tuesday after market closes? Or Wednesday, sorry. Yeah, it's Wednesday after market closes. So I'm all good on Airbnb. AMD, we have earnings on after market close tomorrow. So I'm all good there as well. We had earnings on PLTR after close today, and I haven't checked out the charts since then. So I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dog tweaking out right now. Give me just a second. All right, we're back. Sorry, this is like the one time of the day that he absolutely just needs to be quiet because OBS does not have near as good of sound and noise suppression as Discord does. So this is like the one time he wants to make the most noise. Nah, I did not hit the dog, Michi. I actually gave him a treat and asked him to please calm down. His input is just as important. Yeah, let's go ahead and follow his input for the rest of this. Amazon, I think I'm all good here. This is a weird candle. I don't think this is actually, I'm not counting that as real price action. So I'm all good there on Amazon. ARM, same story. It actually looks like it's kind of setting up for a recovery type of play as well, but ARM is not one that I frequently trade, mainly due to the low contract volume, so I'll pass on that one as well. AVGO, what does this look like on smaller time frames? We almost have a flat top at high of day from today, but we actually just, wait, did we break it? We did not break it yet. 289.44, 289.48 is the flat top from today. That actually looks pretty nice, and I'm interested there. Typically, let's see. Typically, I mark all of my levels from the wicks, but I am going to mark some from the bodies here since we do have quite a few wicks at this level. And we'll go ahead and recolor that, turn the price off, just so we know that that is where we could run into some issues there at 299. But AVGO does look good for upside. And then as far as this goes, I would probably just target 300, so that's nice. Let's see. Question on coin when you get to it. High of day for today is no good because of the rejection right above it from Friday. Justin, I'll check that out in just a second. Austin, also, I will get back to your question here in just a second, but trying to get through the charts here real quick before I go off on my yaps. Okay, coin high of day. I would not look at coin high of day personally. Reason for that is because coin is in a really clear consolidation right now, and overall this thing looks way more clean to the downside than it does to the upside. So honestly, I just really don't want anything to do with coin upside. But what was your question, Justin? Because of the rejection right above it from Friday. So not necessarily. It just doesn't look like you've got very clean room here, because if you look right here, this area right here is where we rejected from, right? We bounced from it before, so it was a support area. Now it's rejecting, acting as a resistance area. And instead of it being like a resistance level and a resistance line, that means that there is pretty much some buffer space in here where anything can happen and sellers can very easily take this back over. So I know we're looking for supports and resistances, obviously, but there's a difference between support and resistance zones and support and resistance levels. And this I would consider more of a zone where I would be more worried about a rejection rather than just a specific level. So yeah, I'm okay on coin to the upside. I like it to the downside at 310.55 if we can get it, but upside I will pass on. I want a clear indication that the downtrend is done before taking an upside. Pretty much, Justin. We're going to have to get above that level before I would take it. I wouldn't even take it at Friday's resistance right here. I wouldn't take it here. I would need probably, as long as we're up in this area between, what is this, like 326.99 and 334.17. If we set up like an intraday setup to the upside in this area, I would be fine with it. But down here, anything below like 325.70, I do not trust this as an upside play. Like I said, just because there's a lot that can go wrong there, and sellers can pretty easily take that back over, especially if they get it up there and it's kind of extended at high of day from today. It's going to be very, very easy for them to smack this thing right back down. But like I said, 310.55 to the downside, I do still like, even though we are kind of far away. Moving on, circle. I think circle's a little worn out here. I don't have anything specific that I would take on this to the upside, but I also don't think that I would be very interested on downside either, because if we look at this on the larger time frames here, we have been making new low after new low after new low, and once again, it could just run into some very easy complications here up until we get down to, what is this, 148. Up until we get down to 148, I'm not a fan of circle to either direction. So yeah, we'll go ahead and move on from that one. CRM, I'm all good. Crowd, let's see what crowd's looking like. I think I'll probably pass on this as well. EAL, I'm all good. DDOG, a lot of the things are doing pretty much what NVIDIA did today, but DDOG, once again, just a lower volume stock. Not very clear levels like we had on NVIDIA today, so I will pass. Disney. I haven't traded Disney in so long. Up until 122.88, I'm going to be uninterested in this. ENPH. This thing does not have contract volume. Does it have volume on the stock though? I recently added, I think I added this one last Monday, I believe, to the watch list just because it had earnings. Okay, so there's okay volume on the stock, but I don't know that that's something worth looking at. 31.13 doesn't look bad. It is the 180-day lows. It's also yearly lows. Is this all-time lows? Okay, this might change some things here. If it's all-time lows, then... Oh, never mind. Never mind. Let's see, what is this? Oh, I just realized half the stuff I'm looking at right now is behind my face. Sorry. There, we can move that. Just move it right here. There shouldn't be a lot going on. Okay. We're already below that. And where are we at right now? 31.69. Yeah, I don't have anything on this for a hot minute. I'm good on EMPH. All right, face is getting moved back down here. Boom. There we go. Google here. Don't know that I would expect this to happen tomorrow, but when it gets there, I still really like 198. I think 198 looks super solid on the larger time frames. So once we get up there, I do like it. Right now, we are about $3.50 away. So it could take some time to get there, or we could just have a crazy bullish day on Google tomorrow, and it'll be there either in the morning or in the morning the next day. Meta, I've got a bone to pick with Mark Zuckerberg. So Meta, if we are looking at this, we are smacking this play. But 70 or 784.75, I still like. Obviously, basically just a massive inverse H here on the 4-hour. Actually, I take that back. I got a bone to pick with Mark Zuckerberg and Red Bull Zero. Both. Microsoft, I am all good, I believe. Let me fact check myself. Let's see what we're looking like here. We're gonna have to put this, do the 5-day 1 minute. If we can, there we go. Right. Oh. Microsoft actually does not look too bad. Let's see this again here. $540.32 I like on Microsoft. I would probably look to take it at 540 just because 540 should have some type of wall there. It's a psychological level. MSTR. Am I crazy or did MSTR have earnings? Oh, wait. I'm tripping. Sorry, guys. MSTR had earnings on Thursday. I don't know why I thought MSTR had earnings this week for some reason. Yeah, I'm losing it. Sorry. MSTR here. I don't really think I like anything on it still, but this pre-market high from Friday didn't look too bad, but once I went down on the smaller time frames, I'm really just not liking it. Daily gap. Here, hold on, let me see. We do have a daily gap. 392.64. Okay, hold on. Let me just mark this out real quick. Michi does. Michi is the gap king. Michi is the gap king. Let's see. I still just don't really like the approach to this level. I understand the reasoning behind it, obviously, but just the approach to the level in general, just not a huge fan of. Doing great, Ken. How are you doing? $395.33. I might consider it at $395.33. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this unmarked for now, though. I just don't love the approach as of right now. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. MU, I'm all good. Nvidia, we'll see. Nvidia, really the only thing I have to look at is the pre-market or after hours high again. So after hours high into 181.50 might not be bad, but in my opinion, still not necessarily the highest quality setup. And also, now that we're kind of back in an area where we could either continue back up to highs or we could retrace the recovery that we had today, sketches me out a little bit because Nvidia really, really loves to get to your levels and then let you know as soon as you're wrong in the harshest way possible. Oracle. Oracle. All right, obviously I'm going to like it up here at the all-time highs. But up until then, and this after hours high even doesn't look too bad. I would have to see how we approach this once market is open tomorrow, though, is the thing. Because that would be the complete decision maker there, whether I was going to take this or not. So Oracle, I'll probably put on the watch list, but I don't know for sure that I'll be looking at it. PLTR earnings, we spiked to new all-time highs, and we pulled back underneath that 4-hour trend, this uptrend channel here. We're trying to hold above right now, but now up 32% in 8 trading days is wild. Good stuff, dude. Great work. PLTR, I would be interested at the highs. There's really not much else to look at here other than that. You could try and take it off open, but there's just so much that can happen off open with a stock that just had earnings. So PLTR, I do like. You could look at some pre-market or after hours resistance levels here, but I think I'm just going to wait until the high. So that's definitely going on the watch list, though. And also, if you guys are new here, once I get through my stocks, I do go through and create my watch list for tomorrow. So if you guys want that, make sure you stick around. So don't think I'm just going through all these and then not letting you guys take any notes. Reddit, I'm all good. Roku, I can confidently skip every single time. Shop, not in an area where I would play it. SMCI has earnings, I believe. Yeah, tomorrow after close. I'm good on that. Snow, I will pass once again. Low volume. These are all stocks that I just need to remove from my watch list, to be completely honest with you guys. I just haven't done it. And then Tesla. Tesla has been a pain. It's been all right. We've still been making money on it, but it has been a pain. So I really don't want to take anything in this area on Tesla, but I know it's only a matter of time before we don't have setups on anything else other than Tesla. And then all we're playing for like 2 weeks is Tesla. So as of right now, there's nothing that I like on it. And I just really don't love the area that it's in, but give it a week or two and we'll be playing Tesla for like 10 days straight. Made a killer play on it and a 1-minute pin it today as well. Let me see that 312. Yeah. It's not the worst thing ever, is what I will say. It is not the worst thing ever. I just don't like the area that it's in right now. Way too much indecision and not near enough follow through on a lot of these moves, unless you're catching something that is a reversal or bounce style of play, even if there is another pattern that is helping you take that. But yeah, All right, I think that's actually everything I've got for the watch list. So let's go ahead and start putting that together here. So Apple, I'm just going to copy and paste from the watch list because nothing has changed. All right, Apple, then AVGO. AVGO, I like at high of day from today. Let's go ahead and pin this. There we go. AVGO, looking at high of day from Monday. We have a flat top after hours at 298.46. I'll be looking to target a move to our next resistances at, what is this? 299.63. Then 299.72. Final target for this play will be the 300 break. Beautiful. Coin staying the same as today. Or wait, no, I didn't put coin on the watch list today. My bad. Coin looking at the 310.55 support, targeting a, well, looking to play this through the 310 break. Below this, we had some trends earlier, but I don't believe that we have any trends anymore. So below this, we've really got room down to like, wow. Let's just take a look at this. Okay, so room to like 306. Actually, we'll not do it the lazy way. We'll go ahead and okay. There we go. If we do have any trends, I will update this trade plan in the morning with the trends that I will be targeting. But as of right now, we don't have any trends to target. So that's fine. Next up, we have Google. Looking at the 198 flat top. All right, Google looking at this at the 198 flat top. I'll be taking an early entry at the 197.78 resistance from pre-market high on Thursday, targeting a move to 199, 200, and then the 1 hour uptrend at 242 cents. Also, you guys can see this, right? What I'm typing. I feel like I always double check that you can, but I know that doing this on an ultra wide screen makes the proportions of everything look a little weird. So, meta, looking at the 784.75 high from earnings. Targeting momentum above 785. Overall, we have room on this to the 790 break, as long as we have the right momentum. The break of 790 will be my final target, but if I see any red flags before then, I will be happy taking profits anywhere above 785.75. There we go. Beautiful. Microsoft. Alright, had a big sell-off after the earnings push, but we're currently setting up for a recovery similar to the Nvidia play from Monday. Looking to take my entry at the 540.32 resistance from after hours on Thursday. Targeting a move on this to 541.70. After that, we have room to 542.70. Then 544.27. Nice. There's that. Nvidia. We've got a lot of stuff for tomorrow, guys. Or not even tomorrow, just the rest of the week. So make sure you guys keep this watch list once we're done with it, because there's a lot of opportunities here. 80, 98. Targeting a move to our next resistance from Thursday at 181.50. Well, actually, there we go. Easy. Oracle. The more I'm looking at Oracle here compared to the rest, I really don't think this is going to set up how we're going to need it for pre-market. So I'll write it down, but this is going to go in a side watch because it is one of the less confident ones that I have, if that makes sense. So $257.25. Yeah, and Justin, if it does that, that's completely fine. There we go. By the way, for any of you guys in here, how many of you guys are not in the floor? How many of you guys don't trade with us in the floor? Because last week, I swear, we have these charting sessions. People show up. Maybe they do catch these plays when they happen. Maybe they don't catch these plays when they happen. But last week, I'm fairly confident we had a 30% play the day after the charting session that you guys had the whole plan right there. You could have just came to the session for free, executed the plan, and made a bag. So I hope you guys are actually putting these to use. And if you guys do put these to use and you're not in the floor, so I don't see it already, message me and let me know that you caught it, because I love to see it. All right, I believe that's everything. So now we can go ahead and rearrange these, color code them. VGO is upside, coin is downside, Google is upside, Meta is upside, Microsoft is upside, Nvidia is upside, Oracle is upside, and PLTR is upside. We have one downside play. So hopefully we get some bullish price action. I am going to throw Oracle into a separate section down here though. And I'll see, I'm gonna go back through and see if any of these other ones kind of fit the bill for a side watch rather than a main watch. So give me just a second and we'll do that. Apple, I really like, that's gonna stay a main watch. AVGO actually is gonna top Apple for me just because I like trading AVGO better. So that is cool. That is fine. Coin, kind of far away right now, so we'll put this in the side watch. Google can stay where it's at. Meta is pretty close as well. Microsoft is pretty close as well. Nvidia, obviously close. Oracle, it's already in the side watch. PLTR. Okay, PLTR is going to move up a little bit here. Also going to move above Apple because I want to make sure this is definitely being paid attention to, because otherwise this whole entire play is not really that meaningful anymore. But being the day after earnings, it is kind of a big deal. Okay. So PLTR, sorry, going back through these again. I like Microsoft a lot. Microsoft is getting moved up higher than Google for sure. Wait, Apple is downside. What am I talking about? Why do I have this label green? Yeah, I think that's good. I like that. I think this is a super solid watch list for tomorrow, for the rest of the week. So for those of you guys that are not in the floor, make sure you take a screenshot of this. Save this. Plot these levels out. Take advantage of it. Because you're getting all this right here for free. And you can make a lot of money with it. So don't sleep on it. Because if I see all these plays play out, which eventually they will. Well, they don't have to, but they most likely will eventually. And I see nobody other than the people that are trading with me every day making money, I'm going to be a little upset. Let's see. I can go back up here. I know Austin had a question. Is Austin still here? Because if Austin had a question and he's not still here, he's not getting it answered. Let's see. If you have time, quick thoughts on Hood at high of day. I don't like it. There's nothing to look at here. There's nothing for me to target. Yeah, no, I don't like it at all. Two questions. What are your two questions, Mr. Ward? You blow up the trade ideas to fit the full screen. Unfortunately, no, I cannot. But you can screenshot it and then zoom in. Because even if I make this bigger, look, I'm going to make this bigger, and the words are going to stay the same size. I also just realized I've been slouching like crazy this whole time. I've got the... I'm going to have like one of those pictures where your neck is like just slanted forward. It's going to be me after trading for however many years. Last question today. How close do you typically have your alerts set to your key levels? Justin, it kind of just depends on the stock, but usually like 5 cents. And the way that I set my alerts is a little bit different than just setting an alert. If I'm looking at an upside trade, I'm minimizing this real quick. If I'm looking at an upside trade, when I go to create an alert, if I'm, like I said, upside trade, on this price section, I'm going to click ask and then make sure it's at or above. And then I'll set it about 5 cents before. I also changed the sound to this sound right here. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. You're not going to be able to hear this because I have the desktop audio turned down. So give me just a second. Okay, that right there. So I change it to that. And then if I'm looking at a downside play, I'll set it as bid at or below. And then I'll put this 5 cents before the level as well. So yeah. The only time I use the mark price for my alerts is when I'm setting it at my targets, because I want the price to actually be going through that alert whenever I'm clicking the button. Whenever I have it set at bid or ask, like if you're setting alerts for entries, then that still gives me the time to hear the alert, execute, do what I got to do there. Obviously, the main thing, you really don't need alerts at all. I always set them for targets just because it's easier. Once I'm already up nicely and it's in a trade, it's just easier to hear the sound and just click the button whenever the sound goes off, right? But for entry, and really throughout the whole trade, I'm glued to level 2. But if I blink or look away for a split second to check something else, like not even get on my phone and check something like one of these, I might miss what I need to see. So when I set alerts for my entries, I just want to make sure that my alerts are at the right spots and I'm looking at the right things, because if the stock is already going through where my alert is going off, I've already pretty much missed my entry. Okay, I'm gonna go back and answer Austin's question anyways. He didn't say if he was still here or not, but it is what it is. So I was wondering, what is your red line to what you're willing to risk a day based on your account value? I don't really have a red line to what I'm willing to risk a day based on my account value. I have like comfortable red day for me is anywhere close to an average green day. So obviously I've had red days. I actually recently had a bigger red day than I've had in very, very, very long time. But still, within 2 days of trading, we fully recovered from that. And today is actually a pretty small day. So yeah, I mean, and that's without having to go crazy and risk crazy and all that. So like even my bad red day took 2 days to fully recover from. So any other normal red day, I could actually probably be green before the day ends. I just don't want to sit around and try and look for junk and be in like a get back revenge mode, because that's when you really start spiraling. But the majority of the days that I'm red, I'm usually red like half of what an average green day is. And to be fair, we really have not had very many red days, like at all. So that's good, but I digress. Anyways, some great education. Thanks. At some point, can you make a list of any size length of your golden rules, if it is 2 or 10 or whatever? I can, Thomas, except my rules are going to be different than your rules, and your rules are going to be different than Ray C's rules. Ray C's rules are going to be different than Dave's rules. Everybody's rules are going to have to be a little different, because your rules for you are typically something that you have set because it is a problem area for you, right? I don't have to make rules about doing something that I would never do, right? So if you're doing something that I would never do, my rules aren't going to help you that much. But yes, I can for sure, Thomas. Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to go back and like look at my old journals and look at my old rules that I would have to set for myself every single day, because like the discipline just wasn't there yet, you know? And so there was like little things that I needed to remind myself, like, hey, you don't do that, right? Like nobody would have to tell you like, hey, don't run your car through a crowd of people, because it's just something that you wouldn't do. Or well, the majority of the population wouldn't do. I'm sure some people would, but like literally rules like that where it's like, okay, obviously you don't do this, or obviously you do this. Those are the types of rules that you need to have while you're growing. Once you get those rules like ingrained into your head, you really don't think about it anymore. Like there's a lot of things that I just don't even think about anymore, that I'm sure if I go back and look at my old journal of my rules that I would have to write down every day just so I knew that they were fresh on my mind in the mornings. I'm sure there's so many things on there that I just don't even know what they are now, because I just don't think about it and I just do, you know? So, yeah. But yes, I can go back and look at those and give you a list of those rules, Thomas. I mean, there's super basic things like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you use only 10% of your total account availability. That is an example of a solid rule. The majority of the time, yeah, but it doesn't have to be the 10%. I don't have a sizing rule necessarily. Actually, I really have no sizing rule at all. I just have a sizing area that I stay in because I know that's where I'm comfortable and nothing too crazy is going to happen because of it, right? So I have no sizing rule. I have super clear, super easy rules to follow, but I wouldn't even consider those rules. I would consider that part of just having a proper trading plan in general. Like, don't take trades where you have to risk more than you're going to be able to make. And if you don't see anything, don't take anything. Like, those are just normal things that are part of building a trading plan. But yeah, for sure, Thomas. I can go back and look at those, and I'll send those in the chat later. But off the top of my head, I really don't have any super specific rules that I have to remind myself of every single day, which is a good spot to be at. And that's a spot that all you guys are going to be at if you guys just keep it up. You're going to get through your problems. You're going to work past those problems, and then it's going to become second nature. What are you looking at in your setups, H patterns, support and resistance area? Yeah, Racy, support and resistance is, if you want to put it as simple as possible, support and resistance is what I'm looking for. And it's very easy to find. Now, sometimes we have different patterns that are creating those supports and resistances, which make it even better because you have even more conviction behind that level. But I don't have to look for any specific patterns. I literally just need support and resistance in somewhat of a clear area where I can expect that we're not just going to get snuffed out as soon as we get to that level, right? Just kind of like I talked about at the beginning of the stream here on coin to the upside. If you weren't here earlier, go back and watch it again because I explained exactly what I was just talking about in depth on coin. Also, I know I said I wasn't going to do a lot of promoting in the stream tonight, but this is my second time, and I can kind of do it if I want to because this is my stream. But if you guys are not a part of the floor and you want to trade live with us every day, use the first link in the description and use code FIRST at checkout because the code will be going away at midnight. So this is your last chance to use it. Absolutely diabolical discount. There's no reason not to give it a try. Because if you think, hey, I really don't want to listen to Keith every day, you can cancel it anytime with no strings attached. So, might as well. Hey, I really don't want to make money every day. No problem, Iverson. No problem, no problem. But if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to give it just a second here to see if anybody has any. But we have no more questions. Watch list is right there. Screenshot it. If you're not in the floor and you're not going to join the floor and you're not going to use the discount, at least use that, please. But yeah, I'll see you guys first thing in the morning for pre-market review. Once again, if you're not in there and you want to join, code FIRST at checkout. It will be gone at midnight. And use this watch list. Put the levels on your charts. Screenshot it now. Save it. While I screenshot it and send it to the chat. You guys have a little extra time to do that. But I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your week. And I hope you end the week green. Can you make it bigger? I can't, unfortunately, Caden. Because even if I put it full screen, the size of the text stays the same. But if you just make sure your stream is in the highest quality that it can be, and then just screenshot it and zoom in, and you've got it. But yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys end your week green. I hope you have a great rest of your trading week, and I will see you tomorrow morning, first thing for pre-market review. For the rest of you that are not joining, I'll